And we can play the game where I put on dresses and you tell me how good I look.
That's the worst game. That's the most dangerous game.
That's how it is. Here we go. Hi. Once upon a groove on an old soul tune. I watch the pin move to shape the breakthroughs. Who makes moves, maneuver in the right direction. The rest of you get left behind and messed up in this session.
Welcome everybody to Drunkcast Live, episode 80. Woohoo! Yeah. Oh my God, we made it to 80.
I know.
I don't believe it yet. Actually, I feel like I feel like we should be much older.
Well, I think there have been about 140 actual episodes, but
Yeah.
several were lost in fires,
So many were lost.
edits.
So many lost in loop, excuse me, not loops, wormholes, essentially,
Yes.
alter universe. I'm sure another version of the show somewhere in another universe, so someone's gotten arrested. So for something, but something really weird like a barn fire,
Arrested for causing a barn fire?
Yeah, I guess so. Or being in a barn fire, but maybe that universe also has weird rules about your safety.
Yeah, I would say with being in a barn fire will get you arrested.
Maybe it's the 8th consecutive Obama term, and everything is incredibly liberal. So putting yourself in harm's way is now a federal offense.
Does he get a punch card at that point?
Free
Free sub?
Sure. Well, I mean,
Free sub with your 10th presidency?
at that point, he gets everything. I mean, welcome to Drunkcast, everybody. I'm your host, Travis.
And I'm Dylan.
And we are Drunkcast. We are a podcast that takes place usually in bars and restaurants, usually kind of wherever we can meet random people, have a drink, and talk about whatever's been going on for the week. We have spent some time here on my back patio because it's a warm and comfortable place where we can talk about whatever we want. And,
I'm hoping to get that chicken on the air, too. So
Oh yeah. Neighbor's got a very noisy chicken.
we'll do an interview with him later on.
That's living in Austin.
Yeah.
Wait, can we say Austin still? Are we supposed to be non? I don't know what geographically located or
Whatever.
in Hawaii again.
We'll just say we're in Hawaii from now on.
Yeah, sure. If this is the first time listening to the show, please check out drunkcastlive.com. You can go to facebook.com/drunkcastlive or twitter.com/drunkcastlive or go to iTunes and grab anything else. There's also a donation page on our front, donation link on our front page if you want to buy us a shot.
We'd appreciate that.
Yeah, it'd be really nice. We will give you a shout out. Of course, there's also a phone number you can call, and I'll give you that number here in a little bit. But we just sit around and we talk about stuff that's going on. Things you've seen, things you've missed, everything. And we do it in perfect audio quality. It's apparently our thing, right? I mean,
Yeah. That's what we're world known for.
yeah. That's our Semi Award, actually.
We're one of the best sounding podcasts you'll ever hear.
Yeah. Period. Now, I'm not going to say that we have that anyone who's been on the show actually has a voice like Neil deGrasse Tyson or.
Well, he hasn't been on the show yet.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, no, that's true. And he will dwarf us all. No, wait, that's the opposite. His shadow is quite large, and it'll be embarrassing.
I would be willing to bet he'd probably argue that largeness
Yeah,
versus density are very different things, and something can be small and much more dense and be more powerful, like a black hole.
yeah, sure. Have you been watching Cosmos?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my God, beautiful, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I used to watch this when I was a kid in the 1880s.
Carl Sagan the first. Yeah,
Well, me and Galileo would sit around. That's how he learned everything.
Sure.
From watching Carl Sagan.
Dash Sagan. It was a detective series at that point.
But yeah, but they've actually done a really good job. They've been doing almost word for word rewrites of the original series.
Oh, have they really?
With some small updates.
Sure.
But yeah, if you actually watch the credits, it says episode written by Carl Sagan, and
Oh, really? Okay, neat.
yeah, the original series was the whole cosmic calendar thing. A lot of the same
cool.
things they've been talking about were the exact same.
Was it instead of 18 seconds of history, was it like maybe 19 seconds? Because it was, or 18 and a half seconds. Because it was, again, 100 years ago.
Yeah.
No, yeah, okay, that's neat. I didn't know if this was completely redone or...
It's updated, absolutely. Yeah.
Sure.
But they give so much love to Carl Sagan as far as paying tribute and using a lot of the original scripts and a lot of the same storytelling ideas.
Sure.
The spaceship imagination, all that.
Yeah. No, I kind of got the idea it was a throwback, but I just didn't know
Yeah.
if he was picking up a baton of sorts.
It's a little bit of both. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I love how they he's been getting a lot of flack. Actually, I read a great article about this. So he's been getting a lot of flack from the Ken Ham style
Right.
conservatives of the world who are just
right.
a little bit crazy on their evolution and stuff.
The extreme creationists. Yeah.
Yeah, and the article I was reading was commenting on, these people like that are out there saying, "Oh, you don't talk about creationism when in your show." Well, first of all, it's a show about science, so yeah. And then secondly, the article went on to go, "Okay, well, you want to talk about creationism? Which one? Which version of creationism do you want to use?
Sure,
Because
sure.
here are 13 or 14 really good ones." And he actually goes on to say, "All right, here are here ancient Egyptian version of how."
Oh yeah.
Science came, how the Earth came to be.
Sure.
Here's the Greek version. Here's
The Greek one's very entertaining.
I think the
Norse is an option. I mean,
they mentioned in the article is that
Yeah.
here are six other different versions of the creationism idea.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you want to teach as science?
yeah. Actually, I think it would be much better to go with the Norse thing because I still believe that earthquakes are caused by Loki. Writhing in pain because of poison in his eyes.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason that that these things happen. Because I don't have any proof otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, no one has any proof otherwise. Really. I mean, tectonic plates.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's magic.
Yeah. No, one of the interesting things about that article is saying if you want to talk about creationism ideas and all these, I can't think of the appropriate word, but more ideological versus scientific methodologies of thinking about the beginning of everything.
Right.
This article is pointing out, if you look at all these carefully, they're all extremely misogynistic and say women cause pain, which cause all things on Earth to be bad.
Yeah.
All of them
Yeah.
say that.
All of them say that.
Except for, I
Even
think,
specifically, it's pointing out that this is the time of sin.
yeah. and the article is saying, so if that's what you want to teach as science, I would say there's a lot of women who wouldn't agree with that.
Who shouldn't agree with that? Who shouldn't? And that's a key. I'm sure that there's. I don't necessarily want to meet. I mean, I'd like to talk to the person who does believe this, but I don't know if I want to really know they exist. The woman who is willing to. No, of course. Everyone's suffering is because of my ancestor.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That's a really interesting argument. 'Cause obviously, there are all these people out there, and we see it a lot more with the.
What do you mean, these people?
Yeah, exactly. The Christian right, you see it much more there. The Ken Ham's world.
Yeah.
Is there somebody in Ken Ham's camp, a woman who truly believes in evolution, believes in God? That's all. Well, that's your
Sure,
choice.
that's
fine.
it, yeah.
But do they truly believe, like you just point out, that because they are a woman, they are the cause of all pain and suffering and sin in the world?
I'm sure it's not zero.
And then obviously, as people like us would go, well, if you say that the answer to that question is no, then you have to accept that other things also might be no that you're
Right.
believing. But are there people who are just that? Yes, you're right. I'm a woman. Ergo, my bad.
Well, that's
Sorry about the tsunami. That's because I was having my period.
right. My hysterics. Yeah. And I would really, honestly, love to talk to someone who is willing to explain it to those because I don't. We've talked about this before. Ken Ham was a much better debater.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Negotiator, really, because he was willing to. I don't know.
Pander.
Hit below the belt a little bit, make jokes about things in silly ways, but. I would like to meet someone who is a little nicer than that to explain, because what I understood from Ken Ham's thing is when they say historical evidence of science or historical science, is that the book of God, the Bible itself, is the reason why they believe the Earth is 6,000 years old because of the ages of people who existed since the beginning, and I don't understand that, number one, and number two, I don't understand saying 6 or 10,000 years, whichever they choose. And then saying it can't. Okay, they don't believe it's billions of years old.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay, sometimes people can't count that high. They just
Yeah.
can't get their heads around it.
And that's
But-
just conceptualizing that.
But it
length.
sounds like they're not even willing to say 10,000 years.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about that is that it doesn't say anywhere in the actual Bible a specific number.
Right.
This was someone's interpretation of it a few years ago.
Right.
And that's just kind of stuck.
And it's based on Adam and Eve lived this long, their kids lived this long, and Noah, of course, Noah was the last one to live longer than 150 years or whatever God
Yeah.
decrees. But that's the craziest thing is like, so the creationist argument, well, we see these things that don't really mash up with this whole idea of evolution or the idea of that there's these layers of things, layers in trees and layers in different kinds of minerals and fossils. So they say, well, because this doesn't make sense, and it looks like it's about 50,000 years, then it's 6,000 years old. Like, what you just use some evidence to say that it's younger, but not that young, and then say, oh no, it's younger than that. Like, what? You have no proof of that?
Yeah, based on what? Well,
Yeah, we have a hunch that it's wrong, and so we're going to keep going. You know,
straight on to Morgan.
yeah, straight on to Morgan.
Put a little captain in you.
Captain Morgan, of course, is the official sponsor of the Creationist Museum.
How else could you come up with those crazy theories?
Right.
I would see Captain Morgan riding a dinosaur.
his leg up, and
Yeah.
there was a group of I think it was biologists that went through the Creationist Museum. Some sect of scientists that don't believe in creationism per se. And they thought it'd be fun to walk around the Creation Museums, and they ended up just being so bummed out by the time they left. Because
I imagine that would be my experience too. I want to be open-minded and explore the curiosity of it and try to. I guess that's kind of the whole thing about the Bill Nye thing. You know, that's a month or so ago now. Is like the idea that there's one approach, a scientific mind, who will look at something and say, you know what, you have a different opinion than I do. Let me explore that.
yeah.
I have an open mind. I will go look at it. But then because I'm actually using the scientific process and methods and evidence, I only become depressed because you were so ridiculously wrong.
Yeah, like a feminist wanting to walk through a Barbie museum
Exactly.
as a lark.
You know, I imagine, so a feminist, a great example. Like, you know what? Maybe something about Barbie does empower women. Maybe it gives them a sense of you know, I can have a dream house and a fast
Right.
car and be popular
and
loved.
not have intestines
Yeah.
or.
But then they go and go, oh no, this is just disgusting.
Well, you just you get to that point when Barbie starts speaking, and of course, the one thing Barbie speaks as an electronic toy, not as a pull toy. There was a big controversy at that point. Was math is hard, which is great because that is the point as a turning point. So I'm sure, getting bummed out.
Yeah. So Cosmos.
Cosmos, man.
Okay.
Pretty wonderful.
Good show, good show.
It's an interesting thing. I remember reading this on it was the best out on Reddit, and I love this. It was a pretty simple an analogy, I guess. When you're thinking about a person like Ken Ham, for example, who specifically says that the Bible is it. That's it. You cannot prove otherwise. Versus a person like Bill Nye, who's like just one shred of evidence, right? The analogy was, take a detective, top of his game, walking into a crime scene, and he has nothing but clues. And he's like, I have to go through this crime scene. I have to figure out what happened, when it happened, and catch the guy, who did this. Now take that same detective, and let's say it's a second crime, you watch someone do it, but you don't have any evidence, and whatever you did have maybe was inadmissible. Now you have to go to the crime scene and then make it prove to you or to everyone else what you already know. That's the difference. So that second mindset is so difficult to say otherwise because everything has to work, or no, that's not that can't be true. And I think that's really brilliant. And I think it's something that people don't really try to keep in mind when they try to talk to the other side and say like a friend of ours, I don't want to say her name. Really, really cool kind of punk rock girl. She'll get drunk, and she's also really sweet. She's got kids. She was telling me that she's like, well, I'm not a creationist, but you really can't answer a lot of scientific questions about things. And it's like, well, you know what science is? Science is a bummer. Like, science is really exciting. It's exciting to be in science and learn and see things. Like there's so much in Cosmos I didn't even fucking think about. And not even just the size of us, but like how we're this tiny and there's all this shit swirling around us, going this way, swirling and going through everything else, and just almost scary,
Yeah.
But when someone figured out what Aurora Borealis was, it was a bummer, the poets wept, you know, because it was this big, beautiful. Even if it wasn't a thing from God, it was like the earth has provided this magic to us. It's like, it's excuse me, it's not magic. Bummer.
No, not. I think that's the other side. For someone who nerdy enough like me, is I know the scientific reason why it's happening. I understand that.
Yeah.
And that makes it even
It
more
even
interesting,
cooler, right? I absolutely agree with that. I mean, like, I'm just thinking, like, when it comes to talking to this girl again, when it was like, I understand what you're thinking, but there's answers for a lot of that.
Yeah, I
they're
think-
just not easy to swallow.
Yeah, I think
because
that
it
anyone who
takes-
says science doesn't have a lot of answers doesn't know science. They haven't looked. They haven't researched, or like you said, they just don't understand the concept enough. Like
Yeah,
like you pointed out, I think the scariest thing about for a lot of people is the idea that the universe, just the universe in general,
right.
the idea that we are not important in the grand scheme
Yeah.
of all that exists.
all of it,
And not just and even the smallest steps that we already know for
Yeah.
like
and we're not saying 7 planets.
no, yeah.
Like, we're saying,
well, I'm even saying keep it in the solar system. So we live in a society. Even the crazies go, yeah, there are 8.5 planets. I give Pluto some
sure,
partial
sure,
love.
sure.
We've sent probes to all of these. We have robots out in space who have gone to all of these places, except Pluto, but we've gone that deep into space. So even the crazy people go, yeah, we've sent stuff out there. Even that, just stay in that realm. That realm is so big.
It's ridiculous.
It's so crazy.
It's so
and so much stuff.
crazy huge. Yeah.
And yeah, even just in that context alone, as our solar system, our small little home base, we are extremely insignificant.
Extremely insignificant.
And then to go to extrapolate beyond that, and the idea that half the stars we see in the sky are other galaxies, not just one
Yeah,
star.
Yeah.
That
Ghosts.
So so I can understand why people just go, yeah, I can't wrap my head around that because my world today I didn't pay the bills. I need to work an extra shift.
Oh,
I need-
yeah.
I can't be bothered with the fact that I am
Yeah.
literally a blip.
Yeah. I still often will just take a second and recognize that there's someone else taking a second to recognize.
Yeah.
That's it's just cool in general, just to have that kind of like not wherewithal, but the just the presence of mind to say I'm not that important,
Yeah.
But those people who can't, like, they're always going to fight for it, and that's
Yeah.
that foundation gets
Yeah,
shook.
yeah,
and
and that's also the other part of that argument is like
all they have is God. If without God, then they are so tiny.
Yeah, and that's the other part of it. It's just they're maybe they recognize, or some part of them goes, yeah, there's so much else out there. Then they get scared. They don't want to think of themselves as not important.
Right.
And okay, no, I don't. I ignore that.
Right.
If I don't see it, it's not real. If I don't open that science book, it's not science.
Yeah, but they don't take people with you, I guess is if you want to be ignorant, just don't let it.
And again, I think
don't
that's
force your kids to be ignorant.
that's why I love people like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye, because not only do they recognize the scale, they still are in awe and love it, and they're not scared, and they go, yeah. Yes, it's humbling to think that we are, this tiny speck.
Yep.
But think of how cool that is.
Yeah. Fascinating.
And then also to go, now imagine if you're a tiny speck like an ant, looking up at us. Think of that scale. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, explorer, understand. It's exciting and cool. I like that they have that kind of enthusiasm to kind of. I'm glad that people out there bring other people along for the ride.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Whereas,
and we'll take a break after this one quick thing is coming back to Neil deGrasse Tyson because I love him. And in some parts, even though I'd never want to have another debate, I never want to see another debate between creationists and evolutionists. I would have loved Neil deGrasse Tyson to do it. I think he would have been
he'd be much better at debating.
much better. Yeah. I love Bill Nye. Not saying it, but again, he just is very excited about science, and it doesn't translate. But on Star Talk, on his show, his podcast, Star Talk, where he's your personal astrophysicist. He mentions
And bartender.
someone asked him, bartender. Someone asked him if, coming from the Men in Black idea, if when we look at the universe, in its shape, it's similar to the way the atoms work in our bodies, or in carbon, or in life in general. Is it possible there's other universes? And he was like, no. Like if you know the difference between the two, no, they're actually pretty different. Once you get down to that molecular level, like it's obvious. Like there's some shit going in there, which is really fascinating, but they just don't work the same way. Like gravitational pull, just the makeup, everything, which is incredibly fascinating still. But again, kind of a bummer, you know.
So you're saying that our universe is not a marble
Exactly.
inside a
in
bag
someone
of
else's
marbles.
bag of marbles, yeah, floating around in another marble bag or whatever.
Man, that kind of bums me out because I really want to be a.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like,
I really want to be a marble.
who doesn't, man?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a refill, and we'll come back after this.
Break.
And the night's through, what a feeling, what a nice move.
Neighbor's got a very noisy chicken.
Like, damn, what a vibe, woo. I got my old soul shoes, tripping on this deep groove.
Hey, welcome back to the show, everyone.
Yeah.
Segment 2, Drunkcast Live. Again, drunkcastlive.com and facebook.com/drunkcastlive or twitter.com/drunkcastlive.
Hey, are we in the Zune store?
We're at the Zune store. Rip-a-doo. Yeah, we have a couple people to listen to from it. The Zune store.
You know, I actually tried finding it on the Zoom store, and it didn't work.
Apparently, it only works for Windows phones.
Only if you're on the phone itself.
Yeah,
You can't
yeah.
like do like a Zune search on like
Anything
a
else?
browser. Like you
Yeah.
can like in iTunes, you can go Chrome and go, hey, iTunes Drunkcast, and it'll give you a web page that'll.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
literally, when I was setting this whole thing up, when I was trying to put it through the Microsoft Store, the Zoom
Yeah.
Store, or whatever, they said that they would email me back when it was confirmed.
They never confirmed.
But people who on Microsoft phones are like, "Oh, we really like the show. But get on my on the podcast, on the Zune podcast thing."
so
Like,
we're huge in Zoom.
apparently, yeah.
All
I mean,
right.
like we skipped the line for podcasts in the Zune Store. We are also on iTunes.
You're welcome, Microsoft.
Yeah, you're welcome. We are keeping the Zune alive in our
Keep
hearts
your
and
Zune
minds.
alive. That's a rare Queen song. Yeah.
Keep the Zune alive.
Yeah.
That was from 4, right? Yeah. Never as good.
Oh, keep your Zune alive. Oh, keep your...
Yeah, so we're still hanging out on my patio, having some drinks. Dylan's drinking your cherry press, right?
This is my fake cherry press
Yeah.
because Andrew's not here to make it for me.
Fairy press, yeah.
My fairy press.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, it's manlier than that.
Hey, Spagnola liked it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's good for Spagnola. It's good for me.
Yeah, Alex Spagnola was on the show a couple of weeks ago, or about a month ago, right? And
She kept stealing my
she
drink.
kept stealing your drink.
Hey, well, she has a party hour to run, so she needs a tackling fuel.
She needs like those calories.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
needs some tackling fuel.
I feel bad. She apparently got cut. We broke the news here first. That she was going to be.
that she was going to be
trying
on
to be
Dancing
on
with
Dance with the Stars.
Not
And-
Dancing with the Stars. So You Think You Can
So,
Dance.
yeah, but she got cut like in the first round. Like the round where you don't even dance. They just go, you know. Like,
Yeah. She
Yeah.
got cut by a producer instead of a talent.
yeah.
That's a bummer. I know she was really wanting to do the. Well, she just wanted to do the Running Man, right?
That's all she wanted.
Yeah.
It's not a lot to ask.
It's not much to ask for.
It's like on a person's bucket list, doing the Running Man on TV. A drop in the water. Come on, give her that.
Right.
Give
right.
her that.
That's pretty easy TV fodder too.
She's not asking for world peace.
Right.
Or
People have gone up and done worse.
She's not asking for Congress to pass a bill.
Oh God.
Not the impossible.
Yeah. The impossible.
She just wanted to do the Running Man.
Oh, poor girl.
I know.
But
we
she
love
was
you,
really excited
Ally.
about it. She wanted to get footage for it. I don't know what she was able to pull out of that. But
I don't think she was even at the part where it was being recorded. I think it was really the
just producers,
pre stuff. Yeah.
bummer.
Yeah.
Yes. So this show, of course, we're talking about the things that have happened. This is a entertainment segment.
Yeah.
Talking about some things that have come through. Now, Dylan, if you've listened to the show before, Dylan is our Sharknado
I'm the Sharknado correspondent.
correspondent. Yeah, senior Sharknado correspondent.
Not just because of my age,
No, of course not. No.
because I had the most experience covering Sharknado
Yes. Yes.
than anybody else on Drunkcast.
Yeah. You hear it first.
So apparently, this week in Sharknado news, this week in Sharknado,
I know we need a segue bump for that.
yeah, and some theme
Segment
music.
bump, not a segue bump. That's called falling over.
A seg bump.
Yeah. That's when it runs out of batteries.
So Al Roker and Matt Lauer.
Yep. Actual. Yeah.
They're not our Matt Lauer, but TV's Matt Lauer.
Yes.
Have both been confirmed as cameos in Sharknado 2.
So who's the full roster now? Mark McGrath.
Man, it keeps going. It's a growing list.
It's a huge list.
The stars obviously are Ian Ziering,
Yeah.
Tara Reid,
Yeah.
Vivica A. Fox,
Right.
and Mark McGrath.
Yeah.
But now, like Andy Dick's in it.
Well, I mean, Andy Dick is like actually legally. Andy
He's
Dick,
required to be in most
he's
movies,
required
yeah.
to be in the background at least of every movie in every scene. So
Yeah.
he'll sometimes be under a couch.
Well, he prefers it that way. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's just the
That-
kind of
that-
creep he is. Yeah.
That's just called being a dick.
Yep. Yeah, that's 80 or the highway. Wait, that's not right. Yeah.
I'm going to pull up the.
That's a weird get. It's a weird to have Al Roker and Matt Lauer. I understand what they're trying to do, and I think it's great because there's always something really, really great in any kind of universe when you actually have real news correspondence.
Oh, Kari Wurr, one of my ex-feature wives from back in the B-movie days.
Who?
Kari Wurr, you know who? Okay, so you recognize her instantly.
Let me see your face. Let me see your face.
She's been in 1,000 B movies. She was on the original Remote Control with
Was Hardwick?
no, before Hardwick, before who's on that show? The host is now dead. Adam Sandler was on that show when he was first on. This is MTV from back in the early '80s.
Yeah.
Mid '80s. Adam Sandler was one of the guys on the show. Colin Quinn was on that show.
Yeah.
The host, his name escapes me, but he was. Regardless, he
Mark
died,
Zuckerberg.
No, he died a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
But he was also in the Blues Driver video for Hook.
Okay.
So go look that one up, internet.
Yeah.
So with Tara Reid,
Tell us.
Kari Wurr, Vivica A. Fox, Ian Ziering, Kelly Osbourne, okay.
Yeah.
Andy
yeah.
Dick, Judd Hirsch, what?
Nice.
Billy Ray Cyrus. Oh, this movie gets better and better.
I
Judah
know.
Friedlander. Holy crap.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mark McGrath, some wrestler guy, Perez Hilton, who cares? If you are a C movie Troma fan, Tiffany Seppis. She's in a lot of Troma movies.
Okay.
Robert Klein, is he still alive? Okay.
Well, I mean, at least for that long.
For the music fans, Peppa of Salt and Pepper is actually in the.
Oh, they got Peppa?
They got Peppa. They got Sandra
Oh.
Peppa Denton.
Oh, damn.
Bismarcky? What?
Oh, rad.
Nice.
Wow.
So
So,
this gets better and better.
I mean, it's-
Downtown Julie Brown.
so it literally is they're just pouring.
Anybody who was not working on a Law and Order series in New York that weekend is apparently now in Sharknado.
So this is the Andy Dick version of the Expendables, is what we're hearing. Because that's a lot of people you don't see together usually, you know. So the three franchises then we have Red, which are like those are high quality guys.
Your
you
high
know?
quality old school
Morgan Freeman, Bruce Willis, Kevin Spacey, right?
He's not red.
Yeah, he was in Red,
No,
wasn't
was
he?
it? No.
I looked that up. I thought, or someone of his caliber at least. But it's like high caliber stuff. And then
No,
Expendables.
Bruce Willis was in that. John Malkovich was in that. Yeah.
John Malkovich is.
Helen Mirren
I get
was in that.
Kevin Spacey
Brian
and John
Cox
Malkovich.
was in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to do because Kevin Spacey apparently is a great John Malkovich impersonation.
Yeah, which is actually pretty hard.
I don't know. Yeah, Morgan Freeman.
But yeah, then you have, of course, then you have the Expendables, which is just like every action film. Period, you know, every action.
Yeah.
Like there was a big get, I guess. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe it was an April Fool's joke. It was for Expendables 4, which because the third one still hasn't come out. But
hasn't come out yet. Yeah.
But the fourth one was
But the third one, Mel Gibson is in the third one.
Mel Gibson, of course. Well, I mean, Mel Gibson, of course, is probably looking for any avenue in which to.
Return.
Well, he's trying to make
Antonio
enough money to bring Walt Disney back to life, so
Antonio
they can.
Banderas and Wesley Snipes are in Expendables 3. Wow. Harrison Ford's in Expendables 3?
It was Harrison Ford. Yeah, Harrison Ford. That's crazy. And then, of course, Sharknado. And Sharknado is going to continue. They're going to keep making Sharknados, I'm sure.
I'm guessing that they'll squeeze out at least one more. I think that's the appropriate word, squeezing out one more.
Yeah, he's squeezing. Yeah, well, because they're done over a weekend. But I think like what's going to happen, and this is if this happens like this, I will laugh. But I believe that every Sharknado from here on out is basically going to be the roster of "Help, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here." Like it's going to be every reality series person or
No.
celebrity.
I like where you're going with the casting in this one.
I mean, might as well. It's
Because
easy.
basically what you do is you go watch some old VH1 classic and you see, Celebrity Get Me Out of Here or any of those other...
The surreal life.
yeah, it's real life. You know, so
yeah.
you throw, you get Corey Feldman, Vern Troyer, and,
yeah.
and Mike Brady or whatever.
What's his face?
Screech, of course.
Screech, of course. Yeah.
Well, he was on the celebrity diet one, whatever that one was.
Oh, sure.
The I'm fat, make me lose weight, I'm a celebrity one.
That's a really long title, but
Yeah.
it's probably real.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It could be.
It was on Fusion.
It could be real. Why not?
I mean, well, they just took it out of our hands now. So
We'll have Mario Lopez host it because he's always been in shape. You know.
yeah, where's Mario Lopez right now? Is he too good for the Sharknado franchise?
Actually, I think he might be.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
impossible.
Well, he's on one of those dancing shows, so he's got a gig.
Yeah, he's got a gig. Oh, Dean Cain should be there somewhere, right? I mean,
Well, no, because Dean Cain earned cool points by being the
bad
guy,
the anti.
the
what would we call that?
yeah. What would you call the anti Vanderbeek?
Anti Dawson. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't think I noticed the extra quarter of a square?
Oh man,
First
this
thing I
is a
saw.
reference to the Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23.
If you haven't
if you
seen
watch it,
go watch it.
it was actually a really surprising little chunk of
It's
of
it's great.
television.
You got to put your cheeks in a beak. Put your cheeks in some beaks. What was that? Yeah.
Well, it was within the first episode
Yeah.
that they introduced Vanderbeek as a character as himself.
Yeah.
As
And
best friends with the main character Chloe, right?
Yeah.
Who apparently
Is a sociopath.
Well, they were talking about how Chloe's a sociopath and Vanderbeek is a
Vanderbeek.
celebrity. He's Vanderbeek. He's like Neil Patrick Harris in the White Castle movies.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's He's the B movie version. He's the
Exactly.
Sharknado version
He's the Sharknado
of Neil
version.
Patrick Harris.
right. He's the Andy Dick version of Neil Patrick Harris.
You take it back.
No, I never said.
You leave the- you
I
leave
did-
Vanderbeek
I
out of
did
that
not
one.
mean that. It was. I took the metaphor too far. But yeah, it's this concept of like when they were talking about like Chloe, the sociopath, who's best friends with Vanderbeek and why they haven't dated. And one of the first things you hear, even before seeing Vanderbeek on screen, is like, "Have you ever?" And she was like, "Oh no, we were what's the word? Reproductively incompatible.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever tried to shove a watermelon into an ice or like a socket? Or
Eye of a
something?
needle, I
Or, yeah,
believe.
or something like along those lines. And it was like the very first thing you hear about him is like, okay, so he's just huge. Okay, cool, got it.
And that's
And it all lived up. It was like it really wasn't. It wasn't New Girl.
no.
It wasn't like.
It was
wasn't
the
really
f-
TV
It was
fodder.
the funny version of New Girl.
Yeah.
No, it's a good show though. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. And I believe we talked about this a couple months ago. Hallie, our own Hallie, introduced us to the idea that they did a full season or 2 seasons, but they didn't all air. But Netflix picked them all up, so you actually can watch the entirety of what they produced on Netflix, which is really cool.
And
And they're good. They're really funny.
they're really good.
Vanderbeek honestly earned so many cool.
Yes.
No,
yes.
I think your analogy of White Castle, in the way that kind of brought Neil Patrick Harris kind of back. The B in 23 did this should have done the same for Vanderbeek.
Yes.
but it didn't get enough popularity or didn't get enough exposure.
Yeah.
but it was the same kind of like, oh, Vanderbeek is cool again. It really was.
Well-
As an example, every time they have Vanderbeek having sex with a girl, 'cause apparently he gets a lot of girls because he's Vanderbeek. He only plays the Dawson theme song, like while having sex or something, or that's how he gets them.
Yeah,
To,
that's how he gets them. Yeah, that was his
put,
easy
put on
way
the
into
shirt.
it.
Like, I'm not gonna put it on the damn shirt.
Well, so there was actually speaking of Vanderbeek, really, like at one point, and I love this. Vanderbeek actually was producing animated GIFs of himself in a variety of different ways. Because there was for a second there was a meme, there was a Vanderbeek meme where it was him crying from Dawson's Creek, and I don't really know the backstory of it so much, but it essentially is someone. Like he took that joke and kept running with it, and just kept providing reaction gifs for people to use whenever, and like he just rolls with the
He just owned
punches.
it,
He
yeah.
just owns it, yeah. Because I mean,
That's the best way to be a celebrity, man. If I were a celebrity,
right?
I've learned a couple things about celebrities from watching them from afar.
Sure.
Be like Clooney if possible,
Yes.
whenever possible.
Whenever possible.
Secondly, be like Brad Pitt also. In regards to both those guys, they don't do interviews ever, or when
Right,
they
right.
do, it's when they choose to.
Right.
On a show of a person they actually want to talk to themselves.
Right.
It's like,
right.
yes, do that.
Yeah.
And then because like Vanderbeek, yeah, if you get memed, own it. Just
Yes, yeah.
don't go oh, yeah, but that's mean. Just suck it up.
Do you think
Take
Dean
it.
Martin would have sucked it up?
Dean Martin or Dean Kane?
Dean Martin. I mean, like if Dean Martin, if the Rat Pack existed in a place where they could make fun of, I think
Actually,
I think
yeah.
Sinatra would not take it
No,
very. he would
Sinatra
take it
would
personally.
yeah, Sinatra would go like, fuck you guys. No, I'm Sinatra.
I think.
I think Sammy Davis would have played the fool no matter what. 'Cause he always played that.
Yeah.
yeah, hey man, it's cool.
Sure, yeah.
he would have rolled, and he would have gone on every talk show making fun of the thing that people are making fun of him for.
Yes,
and actually
yeah.
he did that a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Dean Martin. No, Dean Martin was more of the Clooney and Pitt. That later on in life he didn't do any press at all. He did celebrity roasts, which were fantastic.
Yeah,
He-
back when it was Friars Club, right?
Yeah, back when they were funny.
They're really funny. Yeah,
Man, I love those old school gangs. Those are great.
yeah.
But he was actually like a fairly private dude. Like personally, he had like 4 kids and a wife and didn't drink. And, so he was much more of a. I put on the show for the.
Dean Martin
fan-
eventually didn't drink.
Eventually, yeah. He
okay.
puts on the show with the fans, but then he goes home and he's not celebrity
right,
anymore.
right.
And he wouldn't again later in life didn't engage. He wouldn't go any farther. He'd be more concluding. He's like, yeah.
Yeah,
When I'm on the show that I have to be on for, I'll be on.
Right.
Other than that, don't bother me.
there was
Actually, he's more like a Matt Damon in that regard.
oh yeah, sure.
Because Matt
yeah.
Damon has a normal life with like a wife not in the industry,
Yeah.
like 3 kids, and
Yeah,
like,
he would. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah. Because
more of a Matt Damon.
he would definitely be Matt Damon because Matt Damon plays fun. Like,
Yeah, when he needs to be on Conan, he goes on Conan.
yeah, he's great on Colbert.
Yeah.
As the the little bits they had of just Matt Damon walking up and like the door, like knocking on the
When
door.
he was in the booth,
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
the Matt Damon disco booth,
Yeah,
during
yeah.
the Get Lucky commercial.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, wonderful. And that is the kind of. I mean, like, I don't think it's too much to ask for that kind of celebrity. You know,
Yeah.
a person's like, okay, and we talked about this too. Like, if you're looking at children of celebrities, like they're off limits. Like, I understand.
I
you know, but like, celebrity really should like. I love Johnny Depp's work, but I really just don't like. I thought about this the other day. The arrogance in me came out. It's like, if I was having dinner with Johnny Depp, what would I say? Like, that's never going to happen.
Well, actually, I finish your story, and I'll come back to my point.
Well,
now.
all I was going to say is like, I don't think I would have anything to talk to him about except for Hunter S. Thompson, because I want to hear
I think
more
he
about
would
Hunter S.
love to
Thompson.
talk about that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and that would be a really engaging conversation for this point. And then after that, it's like, hey, Johnny Depp just seems like the kind of person who's like, well, I'm not really not going to do anything unless it's by one director. And as long as my wife's there or his wife's there
Well,
or whatever,
If I may, so
Yeah.
apparently he and his new fiance Amber Heard recently got engaged. So
That's right. Right.
A good buddy of mine, a photographer, has been Amber Heard's photographer for like the past 15 years. When
Cool.
the time she was like 4 years old.
Yeah, cool.
And there's a possibility that he might be shooting their wedding.
Oh, wow.
To which I responded, "How can I help you with that?
Yeah.
I want to go to Johnny Depp's wedding with you.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll hold whatever camera bag you need me to hold. But
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Where do you want the reflector?
Where do you want the reflector? That is the correct. Yeah.
How many batteries do you have? I'll have batteries right now.
He's like, I will hold a reflector. Give me $6 an hour and 3 words.
Don't pay me.
Well, okay, free and
Yeah.
3 words. That's all I'm asking. Like,
But yeah, so there is a marginally slim 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon chance.
sure.
One of us at this table could be at Johnny Depp's next wedding.
Which in itself is pretty cool, only because of the exclusivity, right? But like, I guess. Well,
Oh no, you'll be my my plus one.
Oh,
Obviously.
fucking
Yeah.
sweet. Okay, well, in that case, Johnny Depp, you're a darling. No. My whole point about
Well,
it
hang
is
out
like,
and jam with them.
it's like so with Clooney, with Clooney, like I feel like we'd be able to. I keep saying it's like an arrogance way. We'll go hang out with Matt Damon, but like hanging out with a person like that or like Tina Fey-ish, like. It seems like it would be normal conversation as long as they know we're not a threat. You
Yeah,
know?
actually, no. I think Faye, putting Tina Fey in that same category is like when she needs to be on, she's on.
Yeah.
But she has, again, a husband not in the industry.
Normal person.
Kids.
Yeah.
She's a writer, so she's funny because she has to write. But
Right.
I imagine when she goes home, it's like, yeah, I've got to change diapers and whatever.
Clooney would only be intimidating because I really respect him. As far as I understand his personality.
For me personally,
Johnny Depp would not be intimidating to me, except for the fact that it's an exclusive thing. I don't.
I
I don't.
agree.
I don't,
see your point.
I don't respect
I
him
see
as
your
much.
point,
is what
and I
I'm
agree with that.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, a life goal. We mentioned bucket list ideas earlier, and how Spagnola having Running Man.
Yes.
That's not really. Give her that. Come on.
Yeah, that's easy, man.
My bucket list item is I want 2 things from Clooney.
Okay.
1, to be pranked by Clooney,
Oh yeah.
and then 2, be invited to his Italian villa. Because apparently, when you are invited to his Italian villa, you are forced to jump naked into his private lake
Oh, forced. Okay.
And I just want to have that opportunity to be forced to jump into Clooney's private lake while
that's
being naked.
that's a pretty good bucket list thing too.
I'm saying,
I mean,
is that too much to ask?
I don't think that's too much to ask. Ask.
Except for a break.
Oh, is it time?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I need a refill anyway, so let's go ahead and say let's go. Let's go to segment 3.
Break.
Follow along at home in your drunk cast workbook.
Talk gets you nowhere. Gotta walk, chat, status, so don't even go there. And that is so
Hey, welcome back to the show.
Yeah.
Segment 3, the fight in 3.
All right.
This is Drunk Guys Live, segment 3. This is about the time when we're farther into our cups.
I want to see how many times it takes us to record segment 3 this week.
Hopefully only 6 times.
Okay. Yeah.
For the magic of radio, let's say it's just the one. Last week was really, really interesting. If you're listening to the show, if you're curious about what really happened last week, there was some comments about it. We just started to have too much fun, you know?
Well, what I would say is that you get a special, cheers to you for making it sound seamless and effortless.
I appreciate that.
On the actual edited version.
And I don't want to, but this is like, let's be honest. Transparency is very important, unlike this president.
Thanks so bad, man.
That's the thing. This is what happens when you're recording and you're drinking. You have a little fun.
It's the power of Drunkcast.
It's the power of Drunkcast.
Yeah. Don't need money. Don't need fame.
The
Jimmy version.
Jimmy's still my favorite character of fucking anything.
I like Jimmy. Jimmy and Butters are probably my two favorite characters.
Yeah. Well, they're like equal weird parts of the same fucked up coin,
Yeah.
Butters is all super incredibly happy and
so naive.
And Jimmy is actually kind of a thug, dude.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And I love it that they set him up like,
Well, when he goes on steroids, he actually beats his girlfriend.
yeah.
I mean, he literally assaults his girlfriend.
Yeah, we're kind of in a moral quandary, aren't we, fellas?
Nub gobbler.
Yes, but so sometimes when you're drinking, you forget what time it is.
Sometimes
we try to keep things kind of concise in a box, whatever. And
segment 3. And segment 3 last week. Segment 3 got out of hand.
Well,
all the single
segment
segments.
1 through 4. Yeah,
all the single segments.
Any single digit segment of which we have 4.
Yeah. So segment 3. What is segment 3 this week? What have we got going on?
Well, we didn't really cover a lot in the second segment. We just kind of enjoyed each other's company.
And Sharknado. Yeah.
And Sharknado, of course.
Yeah.
The other movie news, of course, would be, Goonies sequel?
Yeah.
That's my reaction. Like, I really should be stoked about it. I really should. I think a Goonies sequel could be the same kind of, not only, equally could be the same excitement and turnout as well as disappointment as The Phantom Menace.
The Phantom Goonie.
The Phantom Goonie.
The one-eyed phantom. I don't know.
But it honestly, it could be an incredible situation. Okay, so
it's hard to tell because I guess Richard Donner is that
Richard Donner is correct. Yeah,
he great track record. I mean, look up any of your favorite movies from the '80s. He did them all.
Yeah.
Back to the Future, Obs,
yeah,
Goonies, Natch, Forrest Gump. He didn't do Forrest Gump.
No, that's true. I don't know, but that's a guy reference, so I just say, yeah, no, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey.
He was Benjamin Button.
That actually is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if the original people are involved, okay, yeah.
Well,
I trust Richard Donner as a movie maker has a sensibility that if you look at his films, and again, I'm only throwing out a couple, but look IMDb him on your own time. Actually, listeners, I'll wait. Go ahead. Hurry up. No, DB. Okay.
2 ends.
He has a really good sensibility about storytelling, and I believe that his repertoire, if you will,
Superman 1 and 2, the Goonies,
except for Superman,
Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I think I think looking at his movies, he would respect the source material enough to recognize
to do it right.
If I'm doing a sequel 28 years later, which also was a great movie, by the way.
That's the one with what's her face?
Andy Dick.
Andy Dick, yeah. What's her face? Andy Dick.
And he plays a zombie in that one, but he flamboyantly gay. Oh, I'm a zombie.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a little on the nose, sir. On the Andy. That's right on the Andy Dick.
It's right at the tip of the Andy Dick. Yeah.
Right.
Just the tip of the Andy Dick. Yeah.
That should actually be the drunk ass yacht.
The tip of the dick.
The tip of the dick. Yeah. We should
Tip o the dick.
tip of the dick to you, man. He did. I guess he did 3 Lethal Weapons movies.
Yeah.
Maverick. He did Maverick.
Yeah, which I love Maverick.
Oh, Maverick's
That's a great movie.
Scrooged.
Yeah. He just Scrooged? Oh, well,
The Toy, which is actually great. I mean, it's not the best of Richard.
Oh wait, the toy, not
toys,
not toys,
not Robin Williams toys.
Yeah.
No,
Richard Pryor,
Richard Pryor, The
and Jackie
Toy.
Gleason. Yeah, that movie's a good movie. Yeah,
Great movie. The Omen, Kojak episodes.
but Richard, but he has a
But
great
yeah,
pedigree.
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
I think he had respect for the material, and if Spielberg obviously still involved, and
God, I hope so.
if you get he produced the first one, so
Yeah,
far.
yeah.
He probably owns the rights for everything else. And if you get Josh Brolin has become he's still cool actually. If he comes back as a part, Feldman obviously has some kind of irony draw about him, or people will show up to see what kind of car wreck he can provide.
Well, let's look at the whole cast of the Goonies too, because this is important stuff.
Well, most of the cast
Sean
of the Goonies,
Astin.
Well, half the cast of the Goonies doesn't work anymore.
Yeah,
the other half still does.
Especially
so.
Jeff Cohen, right? Is
Chunk, yeah, he's an entertainment lawyer.
He's a lawyer, yeah. He's an entertainment lawyer.
The girl
Corey
played Andy,
Feldman,
I
of course.
believe. Andy, is that?
Carrie Green.
Yeah, she stopped working after Goonies, I believe.
Well, so she'd be willing, I'm sure. Steph, Martha Plimpton, she was in other stuff.
She
after that,
actually
right?
was just in a show that just got recently canceled. She was on Raising Hope, I think.
Oh, that was her. I was
Yeah.
wondering where. Okay.
So she's still been acting.
That was a
doing
cute.
stuff.
That was a cute show.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, I never saw it.
my head's cocked back like. Data. That's actually a questionable one. So, okay. So essentially, what Richard Donner said was that he wants to have the original cast back,
But obviously-
whatever he can.
Yeah, would they be the parents?
Right. Are the parents of the new Goonies? You know.
Will there be some parent-kid crossover?
Right. Is it going to be? I mean, here's the easy way out. The easy way out should be a movie podcast we do, where we fuck up movies entirely by
Well,
actually properly predicting what's happening.
we have 5 hours to fill on the radio, apparently. So.
Oh, yeah, eventually. That is a hint, ladies and gentlemen. But the concept here is so the parents. They don't want to grow up. They grew up. Oh my God, they have kids of their own, but they're going to try to keep the kids away from the Goonie way of life. At the same time, so maybe the parents then have to save their kids from some kind of treasure hunting.
Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum.
Oh, it's so good. Sloth was played
He's
by.
dead. Yeah.
He's dead.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe he's dead.
And that was actually my
That was Stan Matusik, is that right?
yeah, Sam Tuesday.
I believe he died. Brain cancer, I think.
And the character was left behind. And spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the original Goonies, the character was left behind, right?
Sloth?
Yeah, Sloth was.
No, they adopted Sloth. Chunk adopted Sloth.
Wait, he made it out of the cave?
Yeah, no, Chunk adopted Sloth. He said, "You can come live with us. You can live with us."
Yeah, no, he wanted to, but he was holding the brick up. The
No,
boulder.
he made it.
No,
Yeah,
remember-
he made it.
I don't remember him making it.
No, because Chunk tells his parents, "This is my friend Sloth, and he's going to come live with us."
Oh, I don't remember that.
Of course, I've had like 9 drinks, so I don't know.
Oh, sure. I mean, we can make up whatever we want. It's called a headcanon, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But no,
In the expanded universe, Sloth lives
the thing about Sloth.
and goes on to become a surgeon.
The thing about Sloth is that I'm worried about that character existing in a world where
Oh, he'd be CG. It'd be horrible.
in the world where a large group of people were upset at the Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, for being too soon after 9/11.
Sorry, I almost gagged on something there. Yeah.
Puked is the right answer, because that is a thing. Like whatever Sloth is, in the story of this poor mutilated underprivileged person,
Actually,
who was a Fratelli, but should have not been
Actually, no. Robert Davi is still alive and should definitely reprise his role.
Oh fuck yeah,
as Fratelli.
Any Fratelli is because Mama Fratelli's dead.
You know who's the other Fratelli? Was Joey Pants from Sopranos. That was the dude, the bald-headed dude from The Matrix.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that
oh,
was
yeah.
he was
oh
a-
yeah. What was his character in the Matrix? He was the backstabber. The
John
the Brutus of sorts.
Pantaleano, I believe is his name.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, he was the Fratelli. Him and Robert Davi. Yeah.
There's a head twist about that scene in the Matrix because the only
What
way
if I were to tell you?
the only way into the Matrix is for someone to plug you in and then for you to find a way back out.
Yeah.
And yet he was able to sit down with Agent Smith and have steak without anyone knowing.
Yeah. How did he?
No.
Someone had to plug him in.
Someone had to plug him in. Someone had to make sure he was there. Get to the right spot. And it wasn't Otto, and then eventually pull the thing out of his head, but he still. No one's been able to answer that question. And it is luckily the only glaring problem with the only Matrix movie.
Yeah, I'm just glad they never made any sequels.
Oh, it'd be great if they made sequels. Maybe Richard Donner can make a sequel with Data as.
As Neo,
Why is there so many flies in my shirt name?
don't you think?
But yeah, no, I'm cautious. I'm cautiously optimistic about a Goonies sequel.
I think it could work if Donner. Again, I stand by his pedigree.
Yeah.
He will respect the material.
Yeah.
If he gets the right number of cast people, the right cast people to come back as well.
Right.
Chunk obviously is too skinny now, and yeah, but Josh Brolin is awesome.
There's jokes in that too.
And yeah, that's true. Chunk, I'm not fat anymore, guys. Do a truffle shuffle. I can't. I have a six pack. I do CrossFit now.
Sponsored by CrossFit. Yeah.
Yeah. But actually, the idea of sloth kind of slides into a post you made on Facebook last night about Blazing Saddles, like
Yes.
hoping no one ever remakes it.
Yes.
And I've said for years and years and years, Blazing Saddles is a movie
Yep.
that could never be remade.
That was possibly one of our first real connections as best friends.
Because of Blazing
Because
Saddles.
we both respected the fact that it could not because of what it did at the time and how we can't do that anymore.
Yeah, and the idea, I think sloth kind of plays into that same sensibility of the idea of one of your leads is a deformed, mentally handicapped person.
Yeah. Who is incredibly important to the story.
Yeah.
Incredibly sympathetic, empathetic character.
Yeah.
Like has nothing about his disability has anything to do with who the character
In fact,
is.
he's the hero who saves the kids.
Exactly. And the only people who actually got down on him were the family who could not see past that. Like,
And who all end up going to prison while Sloth ends up being happily ever after
Yep.
with Chunk. Yeah.
Yep.
Eating baby. Woo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the idea of if you pitch that movie today, I don't think you could make it because someone would go, no, we can't. Could he be less deformed, maybe?
Right. How about an alien?
How about
Can we make him a Ninja Turtle?
Yeah, yeah. Can we put nostrils on him?
Oh God.
Which is a good segue for actually. Yeah, fuck it. We're segueing.
Let's segue into
Turtles.
Turtles.
Dude, so that link you posted solved the problem.
Solve the fucking problem.
Oh my God.
Okay, if you haven't seen this or not, there's some fan,
Super fan, I
super fan
believe
of the
is the
Ninja
correct
Turtles
word.
decided to take the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movie that's coming out and take those single shots out and actually add to the faces of Michelangelo and Leonardo.
Yeah, it did great.
With snouts, like an actual
Amazing
like
Photoshop
a
work,
mound
too.
in front of them, very nice. Like lighting's good, and it almost looks like a good movie. And it's simplest. I mean, look, it's going to be a movie worth watching.
No, it's not.
No. Whether or not you want to like it or don't want to like it, it's worth experiencing. Kind of like reading about the Holocaust. You should. It's good for history.
I've managed
It
to
doesn't
avoid the Hobbit movies so far, so I just can't keep up with the Kardashians. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, there's so much. My DVR is filling up with Kardashians.
But no, the Turtles movie, I don't really care. But I do agree completely with the nostrils and the rendering of the turtles in this version is wrong.
It's weird.
And then
It makes them look like frogs. It makes them look like some other.
It makes them look like they're trying to be people.
Some other comparisons have been burn victims.
Oh, that's actually true.
There's
oh my God,
there's
I
some
never-
people who are worried about Michael Bay already has a history of using not understanding black stereotypes.
You think?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. There's some people on the internet who say that they look a little too like what a Japanese person thinks a black person looks like. Does that make sense? Because I'm not trying to sound racist about this, but like,
That actually makes you saying that. Yes, it all of a sudden lights
It
went
snaps
off
in.
and things pop.
It
Wow.
looks really, really strange. It looks like a person who doesn't understand how to not be just normal
Yeah.
or simple. Like Michael Bay doesn't know how to do simple.
And that's true. But yeah,
I mean, he's a producer, but I'm sure.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So am I. So I know a guy who knows a guy.
Sure.
I've got a business card that says producer on it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
technically, that makes me a producer. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, but yeah. So whatever opinions we have on the movie itself, just the rendering of the turtles themselves looks weird.
It looks weird.
And then this dude that you found online fixed it all.
Yep. Yep.
And you called it. It was the
By
nostrils.
making them look like they don't have nostrils.
By making it look like they're turtles.
really just giving
making-
them that weird
Yeah.
that snout that we've been used to. It's not that big of a deal, really. Now it probably might cost $1 million to fix, but it would
Well,
really.
apparently, it took one dude with Photoshop a couple of days.
well,
So-
a couple of shots, yeah. But
well, that's an algorithm you put in the computer and you render.
and that's really the key is like Michael Bay, when people are upset with him about the things that he's done, his war crimes, I will go ahead and say.
Okay, I'll stand by that. Yeah.
If you like the Transformers movies,
Yeah, I say my war crimes. Yeah.
yeah. Like, I mean, if you're a person who's just like, oh, I like to enjoy things. Like, I love two of my favorite movies of all time are going to be Last Action Hero,
Which is awesome.
and I really loved, oh crap, the last big robot movie that came out.
Pacific
Rim. I thought
Yeah.
Pacific Rim was exactly what it needed to be. It was a fun, big monster movie.
I haven't seen it. So
Very clean, very well produced.
I saw
like,
Robot Jocks in the 90s, so I didn't have to
better
see
than
it.
Robot Jocks.
Well, yeah, what isn't? Except for anything Michael Bay does.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. F1.
They waved at us, so.
But so I like bad movies. But okay, aside from trying to tear down too much of Michael Bay, but what he said specifically was that he makes movies for 12-year-olds. So stop bitching about it, you know. But the thing about that, the thing about that problem for
Yeah.
me is that doesn't excuse you from making stupid ideas.
Yeah.
You can have explosions all fucking day, man.
Yeah.
Like, again, Last Action Hero, Pacific Rim. There were so many problems with Pacific Rim, really. Like, silly things that only happen in, I don't know, the Mighty Power Rangers or whatever. The things you watch, you're like, why didn't they do this first? Okay, fuck it, you know?
Yeah.
There's certain things, but once in a while, and again, it's the commando theory, after a certain amount of time, no matter what a character does, there is something that will pull you out of immersion so fast, and it's so simple to fix. Commando theory is this.
Yes, go expound, please.
The Commando movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Commando, yeah.
Commando.
Which is one of my favorite 80s movies of all time.
It's a great 80s movie. Fuck yes.
It really is. Well, that's a separate segue altogether.
But here's my one problem with that movie.
Go for it. Ray Dong Chong.
He is running around with guns and shooting everything, and he's killing everything,
Yep.
and he's doing crazy shit all the
88
time.
bodies, yeah.
But if they, at one point in the movie, for those who are not, initiated, who have not no idea, at one point in time, the bad guys catch him, and they are forcing him to get onto a plane
Yes. That's,
in order to fly back, and he cannot leave the plane because he has a person with him.
yeah, he has the 12 hours to
He has-
plane flight. Yeah.
Right. And if he leaves the plane or if they find out, like the person who's like his babysitter, essentially, the bad guy babysitter, if they find out, and then they'll kill his daughter. And he's like, okay, I'm not
Well,
going
in that case, really, it's okay.
That's not the problem. That's not the problem.
Yeah, because that's 12 hours. This is 80, so there was no way of communicating. It was basically
No.
he was off the grid for 12 hours. He had 12 hours to do all the
Right.
deeds.
There's a lot of stuff that's happening at one time. Awesome so far. Again, anytime he picks up a pistol, it's got 6 rounds. He kills 7 guys.
Yeah.
He gets in the plane. The plane takes off.
Yeah.
First red flag. He kills the guy who's babysitting him. He
was dead tired.
He goes dead tired, of course. And I think he crawls down into the
the
landing,
landing bay, and he jumps out the
and he
landing gear.
jumps out
Yeah.
at how many feet in the air?
About 200 at least.
200.
Yeah, he would have died.
He would die.
Yeah.
That is the commando theory. The commando theory is that even though the craziest impossible things happen, if they would have changed one thing, it would have been more reasonable. 100 feet? 50 feet?
Even just have him
Before he leaves the tarmac.
Yeah, before he's a tarmac.
It's
have him,
already 6 minutes, like, of him jumping out and running away.
Yeah.
That's the commando theory. So it's like,
Well, see, where I would go with the commando theory is the fact that he had 12 hours. The plane flight from LA to the island of Valverde
Sure.
was 12 hours.
Yeah.
But somehow he gets off the plane, kills these people, does some stuff,
and
and,
gets
then,
there
and then
before-
still gets there, and at the same time his flight would have arrived.
And I'm fine. Honestly, I'm fine with that.
But he flew there on a turboprop.
Oh yeah, sure.
Seaplane.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
which are very, very fast.
Apparently they do hyperspeed. I don't know.
But I'm okay with flying by arrow.
Ray Dong Chong did have kind of a Chewbacca hairstyle, so
I'm saying that I'm okay with flying by arrow, like an Indiana Jones thing. Like I'm okay with the things that move the plot along, except for when it's completely unnecessary. So even in that situation, 12 hours,
fly by arrow. I like that.
make it 17 hours.
I like fly by arrow. That's
The
cool.
difference between 17 and 12 hours is 5 hours.
It's a day.
But it's a little bit more reasonable, right? But like for me, the Commando theory is always going to be
You jump to the airplane.
if he jumped out of the airplane minutes before that, he most likely will survive.
Yeah.
If he jumped out at that point, there is absolutely no way he would
Yeah, because
survive.
the plane is flying at takeoff speed, which is approximately 120 miles an hour for
Right.
a plane that size.
Right.
He's 200 feet in the air, going 120 miles an hour.
Right.
And then all he does when he lands in the pond is he takes his jacket off,
Yeah. He limped for a second
takes a sport coat, and then he runs.
because he landed in a swamp or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
yeah.
he lands in the swamp at the end of the runway, takes off his sport coat, and then runs across the tarmac and steals the car.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And that's the Commando theory.
Okay.
That's the craziest shit. Like so, like for the first Transformers movie specifically, like the Inner John cube is causing robots to appear out of a Mountain Dew thing, whatever. A Nokia phone is in a box, and the Inner John cube has turned it into a robot,
Yeah.
and it has bullets.
Yeah.
That's the problem. All of it, everything else is fine.
Yeah,
Magical alien
where'd you get the
device.
explosives?
Where did you get the gunpowder? Where
Yeah.
did you get the fucking? The Nokia doesn't have a bunch of fucking brass bullets in it.
There's no. Yeah. I agree completely. Yeah.
And if you're a skeptic, listen to this, and you're like, "Well, of course, this is all stupid." You don't get the point. And
I
I'm
want Neil
sorry.
deGrasse Tyson to debate this topic, just from the perspective of okay, a Nokia phone has approximately this many grams of metal, plastic, and blah.
Yes.
The resulting transformation has a mass 14 times larger with
Right.
more components,
Right.
more metal, moving parts, things that don't exist. They magically appear out of nowhere, and of course, bullets. Yeah.
Right, right. And so, I mean, like, the long and short of it is the Commando theory really just means, without the whole criticism side of it, it just means
Well, you're wearing the jacket for it.
you can
so.
change one thing and make it a little bit better.
Yeah.
You can make it 10% to 20%
slightly more
better.
plausible.
You leave the snouts, you have a better movie. Like, I mean, right? I mean, like, kids don't like.
So the lesson to be learned tonight is basically leave the snouts on the turtles.
Yeah, yeah. Change everything you want about the story. I don't want you to, but change everything about the story 100%. Make it so they are from fucking Mars and they don't eat pizza. They actually eat fucking Hot Pockets, and they don't speak English. They're
Pizza Hot Pockets?
not even Pizza Hot Pockets. Maybe it's like Philly cheese Hot Pockets, mostly raccoon. And just
That's true.
change everything about it, but like leave the simple stuff simple. Because, and remember this, dear audience, if you're listening to this and you don't believe
True believers, I believe is the word you're looking for.
True believers, yeah. Excelsior. If you don't believe the person who watches a thing is an idiot, then you are
An idiot.
Not you are the 1% who is not an idiot. You want something better, and that's awesome. We can do something better together, but for the 99%, they don't care. They don't care if they have nostrils or snouts.
That's the Michael Bay theory.
But if they don't care, do the snouts for the 1%. Because they don't care.
I guess that's the Michael Commando theory.
Yeah, the G.I. Joe. Yeah.
And on that note,
Yeah, let's take another break. Let's refill, and we'll come back for our toasts.
break.
The raps got my crew packed.
Oh, that actually is a lot of workout cups. Okay.
Yeah, now that you've been.
To should I get a yes, yes, no? No, forget it.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Drunkcast Live. We should probably go and close this thing out. Is there anything we missed that you really want to talk about, Dylan? Anything that was really great or
I
missing?
don't know. Richard Marx, Neil deGrasse
Oh,
Tyson.
what happened with Richard Marx? Is he all right?
Yeah, he's fine.
Big fan of the show.
He's gonna be all right. I'm a little worried, but he's gonna be okay.
He's in Chicago.
Yeah.
So
Tim, go hang out with Richard Marx. Make sure he's all right. Buy him a drink.
surely when we do Drunkcast Chicago.
Oh, we're doing Drunk at Chicago, and Richard Marx will be there. I'm making the guarantee, the Drunkcast guarantee. Richard Marks will be on Drunkcast Chicago.
Stamp. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm putting it in wax,
Ooh.
like
Dark words.
on a
Dark wings. Dark words. Yeah.
on parchment with a
Ooh.
wax seal, kind of.
Sure.
Yeah,
You want to infer all this information? Yeah.
it's gonna be written in Old Valerian.
The oldest Valerian.
All the single Valerians.
All the single Valerians.
Oh, Beyonce.
We have a good time here. This has been fun, just hanging out with Dylan. Usually we have other people.
This
Usually,
is our first duo, isn't it?
I think it's the second one.
Really?
Maybe.
What do you think?
Maybe. It's good. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Drunkcast Live. I want you to listen to more of Drunkcast Live if you can.
Especially if you're in the
want
Providence or Boston areas.
to. You're in New England, yeah. If you're in the colonies,
If you're one of the original 13,
Yeah.
we want you to
please, if
go
you
Pats and Red Sox. That's all I'm
if
saying.
you like this episode, go to drunkcastlive.com and stream some stuff, click on some stuff, maybe interact with some stuff. You can also go to facebook.com/drunkcastlive, and it's all one word, Drunkcast Live, and engage in some conversation if you want.
Ask some questions. We want to talk to you.
Absolutely. Twitter.com/drunkcastlive is also another venue for questions, any kind of engagement, whatever. But if you just want to listen more to the episodes, you can go to your favorite podcast app. There's a bunch of them. They're really great. I love Pocket Cast. Very
Well,
clean.
you're Android. Yeah.
I'm Android. Obviously, iPhone, excuse me,
It just has podcast.
has podcast.
It's like built in.
But we're on
something.
iTunes, so it's very easy. Just look up Drunkcast Live.
That's right.
Grab it, enjoy it, consume it, whatever. What else? There's some stuff coming up where we will be
We have
hanging out with Doug
Doug
Millard,
Millard, yeah.
Comedian.
Moon Tower Comedy Festival.
Yeah, Moon Tower Comedy Festival is all right. It's coming up the end of this month.
It's only 2 weeks. We were gonna have Doug Millard in 2 weeks.
That's true. Yeah. The 18th, we're going to have Doug Millard, a comedian, friend of Austin, friend of Don's, friend of...
Funny dude.
Funny dude. Very funny guy. I want to say funny man, but like he actually is a really funny guy.
It's big hat. It's funny.
And he's going to be on the show. We're going to have some good times with him, I'm sure. I think Guy is actually going to come and hang out with us while we're talking to him, which is going to make sparks fly. And that
Don't you think?
we're going to continue to play on that, like those hopes. We're going to have more comedians on. We're going to have more people. Anything we can to have engagement. So we want you to keep coming back and just enjoying us.
If I may, I'm going to say if you guys have really anything you want us to talk about, suggestions, comments, topics,
Yeah,
or tell us we're ironic.
yeah.
One day you'll break me of this habit.
We love pedants too. Like
Yeah.
if you're a pedantic person, please,
Just talk to
bring
us,
it,
engage us. But what I was getting at was if you want us to come to your town or to your bar or to your location,
Yep.
just say, hey guys, come hang out
Yeah,
here.
man.
We'll do it.
We will do it.
Especially if you pay for it.
Because it's cool that some podcasts like to do the live shows, but we like to do the intimate shows where we
Yeah,
go to your bar, we drink your booze, and we just get drunk together and just have a good time. We don't need a crowd around us.
But you should also bring us your women.
I mean, well, and ride off on the horses. Wait, yeah, no, that's right.
Well, that's where the Blazing Saddles comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you bring enough for everyone? But anyway, so we love you so much for listening to this episode. I
We
want
do.
to thank Dylan so much for helping me run this show.
Hello.
For everything else, he is my un compadre.
Well, I'm getting the eye patch next week, so I can officially be number 2.
Oh, you want to be the number 2?
Number 2.
Yeah, my Starbucks.
I'll be the number 2 to your Dr. Evil. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dylan is very important to the show. If you want to find him anywhere, we really need to have Twitter accounts for each of us at some point.
Well, you know what? I think the listeners should tell us what they want.
Great idea. If you want, how about this? Turn to page 35.
Yes.
If you want either of us to have
Choose your own adventure. Yeah.
choose your own twit venture.
Choose your own podcast drunk venture.
Yeah. How about this?
Yeah.
Tweet with a hashtag
Tweet your own adventure.
of page 32 to
Travis.
Drunk as Live
Yeah.
for Travis.
Okay.
And then let's say 38 for Dylan. Let's see if this even works.
You're being generous.
Let's say 26. Okay, perfect.
So Click Sticks, you have a choice now.
No, we seriously, we love, honestly, anyone who's still listening to the show. We love you so much. We really want to get some more engagement out of you, though. We want to see what you like, what you don't like. And if you're going to come by and hang out with us, or if you want us to come and see you, like, we have the time. We would love to have a drink with you, or maybe send you some stuff. We got a bunch
We
of
have
koozies
swag.
left.
Yeah. Actually,
And-
there you
and
go.
The bedpans. We still have a bunch of bedpans. We
Well,
haven't
no,
given out
I'm,
yet.
I'm saving those.
Well, of course you are. Yeah.
Well, I'm old. I in about 6-7 more days, I won't be able to get out of bed anymore. So,
Your Billy Idol years, yeah.
well, soon. Listeners, really, send us a tweet, send us anything, and we'll send you some free stuff. We
Yep.
have free stuff to give you.
Yep. Easy way to get you some free stuff, so. Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah. But for Dylan, thank you.
You're welcome.
And for myself. And of
Hey,
course.
Travis, thank you.
Man.
So-
We're here for other people. Or wait. Anyway, I'm Travis. I love you so much. Please. See you next week.
Bye.
Click.
Drunkcast Live is a podcast that's recorded live around bars and drinks, but we do drink and podcast responsibly, and we hope you do too. Please come check out more about the show at drunkcastlive.com. Go to facebook.com/drunkcastlive or twitter.com/drunkcastlive.
What the deal is?
Yo, Travis Raps.
Hey, yo, you want to eat some fish?
Yes, have some.